With Tony Harris Taylor. Tony Harris Taylor. Testing results. Oh yeah. With Tony Harris Taylor. Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Drastic Results with Tony Harris Taylor Show. And today's guest for the viral networking conversation is Mrs. Sheila Collins, the Reset Realtor, as well as the video coach who helps you reset your business with video. So welcome, Sheila.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
So I just said who you are, but in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
So I am, of course, Sheila Collins. I am a mother, a grandmother. I am a realtor. That's my bread and butter. But I like to tap into the creative side of me, and so that's where video comes in. And I've learned to merge it with my business, and it's something that I have found that I really enjoy doing. So I've learned this recently is if you find something, we all need to find something that when we're finding our way to work or personal life, we have to find that we have to find a way to figure it out, right? So why not enjoy the process? And
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this. I like doing it. So that's what my thing is. I'm going to encourage other people. Whatever you choose to do, enjoy it. Enjoy the process. It's a process.
It's a process. So let's start with the video side of the business. Now, I know I kind of shoved you a little bit into making that a business. Right. Into making that a business because you were so good at it and you were great at attracting your clients with video. But you actually have a story behind video, why really it is drastic for you to be doing video. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I was a little girl who did not want to be seen. And but in life, you can't hide in life. So I was born with a birth defect called Cruzon syndrome, which is a facial deformity that affects your eyes, ears, nose, and throat. So I grew up, I look very different than I look now. And that's because I've had multiple surgeries throughout my childhood, some life-saving and some, just because they were needed to just give me a better quality of life. Like I had to have tubes put in my ear because I couldn't hear, very well because the bones are all shaped. They're misaligned, basically. So I had to go through many surgeries throughout my childhood. And when I was 12 years old, maybe 13, I had major reconstructive surgery. And that was a life-changing surgery. And I was blessed enough to live in a country that I could afford this in the medical center that I could afford these doctors, these specialists. But as I got older, I had some other major medical problems that had nothing to do with my birth defect. But what I have found was I realized each surgery, I kind of, looking forward is not the right word because who looks forward to surgery? But I can remember thinking every surgery I had, I was going to get better. Mm-hmm. It was going to give me a better quality of life. I was never not going to be in this pain any longer. I was not going to be made fun of any longer. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went into those surgeries as, okay, this is going to I'm going to be better. And so I didn't realize until I went to a 2020 Reset conference that's what I was going through. Was going through resets, and I just didn't realize that I was putting myself into a mental reset. Absolutely. And I realized when people are buying real estate, they're selling real estate, there are even leasing, even commercial business real estate. It's a reset. Their family's growing, their family's downsizing. There's a divorce, there's a death. My company's growing. I need more room. I don't want to lease any longer. I can now afford to buy a building or an office. So I have merged that through your help, actually. Through you taught me the importance of branding and making yourself stand out.
I am so proud of you because honestly, Sheila struggled with accepting that brand, but the way you describe it now and you have embraced it, it's perfect. You got it. You are the queen of resets. And so
I
why not embrace that?
I'm owning it. Yes.
Yes.
And it took and I think that was a learning. It's learning. It was learning the business. I came from a corporate world where we lived in a box. I was told what to do every day. We're told we know what to do. We know what time to show up. We know and I had that that I was in that box. So and it wasn't until I became an entrepreneur, a real estate agent, and I had to figure out, this isn't, no one's telling me every day what I need to do. I need to figure it out. If I want to be successful, I need to figure this
Absolutely. Out. Absolutely. So what made you start networking to grow your business?
So I've always been, I think, actually I was tested high in detective. And so I was looking for people, I was looking to grow, and I didn't know how to really grow my business. So I started networking, and I can't remember really the first networking event I went to, but what I quickly realized, or maybe not quickly, but I did enjoy networking, but I didn't know how to network. And I quickly learned there is a way to network. If you want to be successful, you need to know how to network. You need to know where to network. You need to surround yourself with the right networking people. And honestly, it wasn't until I joined NIA and met you that I learned. I already knew. I learned it. I thought this networking thing's not working, but you helped when I met Tony and went to NIA for the first time as a guest. I realized this is how it should be. Networking should be.
Well, here's the other thing. I remember when I very first met you back in 2019, you said you were taking a program and they were encouraging you to door knock and walk the street. And you were like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do. And that was another learning curve for me. So I became a realtor, I knew nothing about real estate. And honestly, I really didn't know. They say everyone knows a realtor. I didn't know a realtor. And if I did, I didn't know they weren't, offering their help to me. So I knew I wanted to make it. So I got into the business and I learned as I was going. But when I hit my 3-year mark, I was a 3-year-old baby. And I thought, this is pretty good, because I noticed every year I was getting a little bit better. And so I said, I'm going to hire me a business coach. And I was so excited. And we started working together, and my business just went floundering. I was floundering. And I was floundering, and I was paying a lot of money, and it was a contract, and I was starting to get fearful. So what happens when you get fearful? You get angry. Fear causes angry. So I was like, it's like on one of my calls, I'm like, I'm paying, because I started panicking. I'm like, how am I going to pay this coach? And here I am trying to, and honestly, I assumed the coaching would it was the answer. And no, you have to work at it.
Yes.
Even with coaching. I mean,
yes.
you have to be coachable, but
yes.
So as I got into it, I was so upset. And she told me, you need to door knock. And I'm like, door knock? And that was not what I wanted to hear.
No.
And so it was in May. I remember it was on the weekend. It was a Friday. My husband had gone out of town. I had no one. So when things happen to me, what I've learned is I tend to isolate. That's just my personality. So that weekend, I just stayed home and I cried. I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I was anxious. This lady wants me to door knock. She's my coach. You have to do what your coach says. Finally, I said, I tell myself, Sheila, really literally talk to myself, Sheila, why don't you want to door knock? And I came up with 3 reasons quick. And one was, people are mean to door knockers. And all my life, as a child, I was picked on. I was made fun of. I've gone through that. I'm an adult. I don't have to do that anymore. The second reason was I'm afraid of dogs. And I always tell people, I have a dog. I love my dog. And I would probably love your dog, but I'm afraid of dogs. And these door knockers will probably sick their dogs on me. And what happens when people ring your doorbell? The dog gets involved.
Right. You go in a tizzy.
Yeah. And then the third one is it was May and it was hot in Houston and I wasn't going to door knock. So I had told myself, and I need to step back a minute. I had started creating these videos on my own as well. And I started watching YouTube and started kind of, seeing these other realtors throughout the country being successful using videos. So I started making these little videos here and there. But my coach told me, now this was, 4 years ago now, stop doing video. That's a waste of time.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. And I told myself, and that week I had made a video and posted it and it's on Facebook. And so anyway, my husband came home and I told him how upset I was. He's like, I don't want you to door knock anyway. And that's like the only time I listened to my husband. Like, my husband said, he doesn't want me to door knock.
Well, it was in line with what you didn't want either.
Typically, he goes like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. I told my coach, I was honest with my coach, and I told her I was not going to door knock. However, I made myself a goal. I told myself I would create one 30-second video, giving one real estate tip, and I would post it once a week. And I gave myself a goal for 6 months. And I did not tell the coach this, but I did it. And by August, my business started growing. I started getting busy again. And by December, I had my first lead from Instagram. So
awesome.
It's proof. It's like anything else. I think you have to, whatever you pick to grow your business, just focus on that. It could be, for me, it's video. For someone else, it might be door knocking. It might be cold calling. But for me, that's not for me.
So Sheila, when it comes to networking, there are so many emotions. Some love it, some hate it. Where do you fall on the networking emotion meter?
I probably fall in the middle. So I usually don't, here I go. But once I'm a people person and I'm a social butterfly. So typically once I get to my networking events, I usually love it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And you do really well, and you do a great job on showing up, and we'll talk about that more later. So, but you had to learn to love it, because I remember when we first met, you were like, networking thing. Because
I remember what I first said, was networking, and some of the networking groups, they are just people kind of getting together. They don't really know how to network, and who you network with is important.
Where you network and who's there is
exactly where and who. And I was networking, and I met many. I wouldn't say close friends, but I met a lot of people who I'm still acquaintances with through networking from years ago. But the groups I was networking with, they were not the groups that I really felt like benefited me for what I needed.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So virtual networking, since the pandemic has become very popular, and I don't think it's going away. So what tips do you have to maximize virtual networking?
So virtual, when when all the Zooms and all that first came about, I think I remember liking it, thinking this is great. Why weren't we doing this before? But again, I'm a social butterfly. I like to get out. So then I got kind of to where I just wasn't feeling it, and I wasn't excited about it. However, virtual networking is here to stay. And just like anything else, you have to embrace it if you want to be a part of something. And sometimes that's all you have. For some, there's some groups that's all you have. And not only that, you can really expand your network.
Yes.
So you can go do virtual events, with people in different
countries.
Countries. Yeah. So in that sense, you have to embrace it and like it. And once you get used to that, you just know and learn how to work it, which I think you're very good at teaching us. You copy the chat. I mean, everything, they're giving you all the tools to utilize it.
Yeah.
And so I have come to, I still would rather do in person, but I'm not opposed to the Zoom. I mean, because it is here to stay, and
Absolutely.
yeah. And
So is entrepreneurship easy for you?
it is now.
Okay. But it wasn't always, right?
No, again, I had to, I came from corporate world for 25 plus years, and I didn't come from corporate world where I hated it. If you listen to a lot of entrepreneurs, they'll tell you, oh, I hate it. I love where I came from. I have made lifelong friends and who are like family to me. So I loved where I came from. So it wasn't like I hate it there, so I'm going to just quit. I wasn't anything like that. So, yes, because I had to learn to work, be disciplined, time focused. I had to learn to work on my own. And, I went to an office where I sat and I could talk to whoever I wanted, people, and I'm no longer in that. It took me a couple of years
So the question I have is then what is the driving force to you staying an entrepreneur? Because you are very social. And so why do you stay an entrepreneur?
Because I have always had an entrepreneur spirit. But when you have two kids who I have two, now they're adults. I had two children who also had a birth defect, who had the same birth defect I did, along with a couple of other medical issues. So I had to work for insurance, basically. But I always had that little spirit in me, because I remember I always wanted to be my own boss. I think I should just say it. And I always did stuff. Now looking back, I roll my eyes, but like I would sell Mary Kay. I sold jewelry. I just would dabble in a lot of little stuff because I was just kind of finding my way, but I could never quit my job. I wasn't that bold enough, and I didn't have that in me. I had to, I had to be safe because I had my baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so I always had that entrepreneur. I even took an entrepreneur class at HCC.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you always had the spirit.
I always had it. I just had to find that safety net. And then I found someone to marry me. No, I found a sucker. No.
Who adores you?
But I got married, and once I got married and had that security and my kids were grown, I knew I was ready to take that risk. and get out and do that. And now why I took real estate, I don't really know. I can't say real estate was one of those things. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna take a real estate class. I got my license and left my job cold turkey and started January 1st, 2014, I guess.
You are a drastic stepper, and I know you didn't really have a framework for who you are, but now that you and I are in the same world, and I've seen you take drastic steps, and so congratulations. So the next question I have is actually on that same line. Tell me about a time you didn't want to show up, you pushed ahead, and you're glad you did.
Time I did not want to show up and I pushed ahead. Oh goodness, I'm sure. I know there had to have been. I know there was.
I know there was.
Oh yeah. I know there was. There's a lot of times I don't want to show up to a lot of little things, and I know once I get to wherever it is, I know I usually always am thankful that there was a reason I wear
Yes.
whatever it could be. Example, my award show, the award ceremony this past week that we had for my brokerage. I was given an award for, you make so much income.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I did not want to show up. And that's a great accomplishment. And out of 1,200 agents, only I think 200, less than 200, were qualified, I guess, top, considered top producers for the 1,200 agents. And I was one of them. And I did not want to show up. I did not want to go. And of course, I knew I needed to go because, first of all, my husband's like, you deserve it. But
that's exactly right.
Secondly, I knew it's part of that accomplishment that I need to it's an accomplishment that I need to show up for myself.
Absolutely.
And
celebrate yourself.
Yeah, celebrate and that's something I do not know how to do.
We're gonna work. We are continuing to work up on you.
Yeah,
for that,
and I think you know this because you're my business coach. I downplay a lot of stuff.
Oh, you do a lot. And I'm going to toot your horn. You don't have to do it in July at one of the most critical times in her life. She lost her father. Her grandson had major surgery. I think there was another very life thing going on, and she was like in the top 10 out of 1,200 realtors that month, right? So that's why I say she was such a drastic stepper and she doesn't give herself enough credit. So I'll toot her horn for her. Yes, I'm glad you pushed ahead and went to the awards because you deserved it. Yeah. But now tell me, we all have challenges, even me, when it comes to networking. I know you don't believe that, but I do. I do. So what challenges do you have when it comes to networking?
My challenge is not talking to enough people. And, even though I say I'm a social butterfly, and I usually can't get up and I'm not afraid to approach, which is really surprising considering, as a little girl, I hid behind my mom's, dress. And, I had 6 older siblings who were very overprotective. So I was easy for me to skirt under one of them. But I'm not afraid to approach people, that's for sure. However, in networking events, sometimes I do get that
hit in your stomach, like, oh my gosh, I gotta talk.
Yeah, and so I still have that in me, and I know I can do it, and I know I can make conversation, but making that first step to talk, or like it's an awkward feeling if in between two people are talking, but you want to not interrupt, but you want to meet these people too as well, or hey, I want to talk to this person, and you want to, but they're in a conversation, so that you have that awkwardness of going around. But so that's probably my still my challenge, and it probably always will be, I guess. But once I
push through them, right? And we learn to manage them better.
Mm-hmm. And I will hang out and meet who I need to meet. But that's probably my challenges. I still get nervous about that. And I've been to, as you know, a lot of networking events. Yeah.
Well, tell me about a time, Sheila, that networking made a big difference in your business.
Network made a big difference in my business when I met you. when I became a part.
I did not tell her or pay her to say that.
Yeah, when I became a part of NIA, I met I met people who were in the same mindset as I was. And that's what I needed to be. I needed to be in that same mindset. I needed to be around like-minded business entrepreneurs. I needed to be around that.
Yeah.
And I needed to be around a good, what would you call yourself? A network, you're a leader,
The networking queen, girl.
Queen.
That's
I
right.
needed to be when you have a good lead, anything in any organization you're in, if you have that good top leader, you have that person who can take who is in charge or who and can help people, guide them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And that's what NIA, that's what you do for us. I feel like.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for that. And
That's when networking has changed.
I'm actually going to answer this question for you too. So yes, NIA has been a big piece, but I believe what made a big difference is when we went to the Reset conference in Dallas.
Yes, that okay. So that made a big difference. Because that was a conference, but that made a big difference because I had my aha moment there, and that aha moment was Reset. Every speaker that spoke on that stage on the platform, they had spoke about their what happened in their life that got them to where that pivot in their life, and then I had and it was called the Reset Conference, and that's when I in my mind I thought that's what I've been doing all my life.
That's it.
I've been telling the surgery. Okay, I know I'm going to go through this, but it's going to make me better. I know I'm going to have a recovery, but and I remember telling my kids, and I told my grandson, you're going to go through this, but once you go through it, it's going to be better. And just, relax, we're here, when they're in the hospital, it's hard. It sounds so easy. It's hard to relax when you're in pain and discomfort. But, you're there to get better. And that's what nurses and doctors are for. So all of my life sets, well, I had a lot of life resets. My children's biological father took his own life and had to help them through that. And, my father passed away. So, our family is kind of going through a reset with, just because of dynamics of helping mom. They were married 68 years. So, so it's not only medical life resets, but that's everyone. That's what I mean by we all have, some type of something that goes on, and I just choose to look at them as resets because resets are good. And I always say, just take the good and just leave the bad every day. When you wake up, be grateful, leave the bad because even when life is good, things happen.
Absolutely,
and everyone's going through something.
And it's how you show up when life is happening that really is the testament. So, okay, here's your favorite topic. Social media is a form of networking. How has social media, and I'm laughing because it's been all social media, helped your business to grow?
The last part, I didn't hear you.
How has social media helped your business to grow?
I think how social media has grown my business because that's all I really use. I don't cold call. I don't pay. I will never pay for leads. I will not door knock. You already know that's what I'd rather get in front of the camera and talk to you about whatever. So I think social media is here to stay.
Yes.
It's gonna get. There's gonna be changes in social media. What are people doing? I think people are probably more on social media than they do watch TV. And even if they're watching TV, okay, and I'm going to bring it up. But the slap on the Oscars, when that happened, what did people do? They grabbed their phone and Googled, did I just
there you go. There you go. I didn't see it happen either, but I went right to the phone and it was right there.
Right there. Yeah. So social media is a fantastic tool. Social media can be like networking. You have to learn to use it.
That's right. And do it the right way.
Do it the right way, because I see a lot of people doing it the wrong way. But you know what? I also see them trying. And that the one thing I've learned since the pandemic and that I love is that people are perfection is out of style.
Yes.
And perfection, people, it shows who you are. And if you've seen my videos, a lot of mine, I just get on and I'm more on a riff. I kind of talk. So I you'll hear me stutter, and it's because I'm not using a script. And I probably should be, but I'm not. And that's just, so you see me,
Yeah.
what you see is me.
So what mistakes have you seen entrepreneurs make when it comes to networking, and what tip would you give them?
When it comes to networking, what tip?
What mistakes first? What mistake?
What mistake would be not networking enough, picking the wrong networking groups, your wrong network, because I believe we all have our network that we need to know who to network with. Because I know I don't want to network with other realtors, but I want to network with businesses and get to know those people so that they can remember me as a realtor.
Absolutely.
And it works both ways. So I can remember them as whatever trade or whatever they're doing, their business. So networking with the wrong people. And then you're going to, this is probably the number one is not following up.
Oh, yes. Not following up.
Following up. And we all are guilty of it. I know we all are. We're all guilty of it at one time or another.
We are. We're not perfect at it, but we know we need to follow up. So follow up is your tip, right?
Follow up. Yeah. Network with the right people and do your follow up.
Perfect.
And don't be afraid to get out there. One thing, and I just came to my mind is we all probably go into those networking groups with the same feeling of nervousness.
Sure.
And we all have that same. We're all, and if we remember that, and it will probably make our whole networking life easier. Yeah,
absolutely.
And even the follow up. A lot of people say, "Well, they didn't follow up with me." Well, did you follow up with them?
Right. Somebody's got to own it. Somebody's got to take drastic steps. So absolutely. So here's another question: what does it mean to show up? What does it mean to show up?
To show up is to show up as yourself, to be genuine, showing up for other people, showing up to know that you're there to help yourself, because let's be real, we're all there to help but to show up and to know that there's someone in that room that you may be able to help. And showing up is, if you don't show up, how are you going to be able to help your community or be able to grow yourself or help someone else grow? Because sometimes we may go somewhere and we may feel like we didn't get anything out of it, but maybe something we said or did helped someone else.
It's not about you.
Always show up.
Not about you. No, networking, showing up is not about you. It's for the people you're meant to help and serve and meet. That is excellent. So you just mentioned that not following up is a mistake that entrepreneurs make. So what's your best strategy for following up?
Well, I like to use your strategy, which is making the date there at the event.
Yeah.
And putting it on the calendar. That's still a struggle for me because I'm a paper person, and oftentimes I'm sitting there looking for my paper.
Yes.
But I have gotten better. It's a process, and I've gotten better with my calendar and putting everything in there and deleting and taking out. But I'll still catch myself, looking at my calendar and then going to my office and looking at my paper calendar to make sure everything's jiving. But so my advice would be to anyone networking, don't leave there without making a date already.
Yay.
I mean, at that event, because I'm guilty of it too. Or you go and you say, "Oh, I want to talk to that person." You get their card, I want to talk to that, and then you leave, and then you get busy, and you think, "Well, okay, well."
And here's the truth: nobody calls anybody. I mean, I give out a ton of cards. Ain't nobody ever called me and said, maybe once or twice, I won't say ever, but rarely do people pick up the phone and say, "I met you at this event yesterday. Can we get together?" I occasionally will get an email. The emails are too easy to miss. So book it on the spot. Yeah. So now let's talk about, the name of the book is Viral Networking for Drastic Results. And when we think about viral, we think about videos. And we think that they, thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. But truthfully, someone told me that viral means people are talking about you when you're not in the room.
Oh.
So can you describe how your networking has helped you to go viral?
How has my networking helped me to go viral? I want to say people just remember me. Remember
They do. They
my
do.
vibrant personality. And I'm going to tell you something. People remember my looks.
Yes.
And people remember, and so that's a good thing I actually now I welcome that. I like that. I want to be different, and people remember the way I look. And most people, I think I'm memorable. If that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. You are memorable.
I think I'm memorable. Yeah. And especially when I'm really myself, because I cut up and I say silly things, and I like to, I like to talk to people, and just random, like my son says, you just talk to people, Mom. I wish I could do that. And you talk to them you make small talk. You're good at that. And I think people remember that, and it makes people feel good, and they remember me.
Yes.
So I recently had, not recently, so I've been going through some, to my dentist, and she saw, one day I was on the phone looking at houses, and she was like, "Oh, you're looking to buy a house?" I go, "Oh no, I'm a realtor." And I just started going to her, and she's, "Oh, I might look for a house soon." And I said, "Okay, great." Well, I put her on my CRM, and I started sending cards to her in the office. Well, she just called me last week, and she wants to start the home buying process. But she told me one thing. She said that she has a lot of realtors who are her patients. She said, but my personality and the way I came in and showed up, she's told herself that's who I want to work with.
Isn't that something? So it's all about being attractive. Yes. And it's not a physical beauty, or it is about energy.
Yes.
I cannot say that enough. Your energy is attractive. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's the outside, inside coming out.
Yeah.
So congratulations. That's a great story.
And it's not like, it's like they say, it's not what you say, it's how you make people feel is what they remember. So I feel like that's why I'm memorable.
Yeah.
And not that I have a vibrant personality. I don't, but I'm very.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do.
I have. Especially when I'm really loving where I am, I can really show up.
Yeah. Okay, so this has been a great conversation, Sheila. So what's your favorite quote around networking or connecting?
So it would be a quote by Brene Brown, who I love and who has probably helped me get out of my box. Courage starts with showing up and letting yourself be seen.
I love that, because there was a time that you should have not wanted to be seen. Yeah. And it took courage, and look at you now, how you love being seen. So that's so perfect for you. So what are your final thoughts for entrepreneurs who are hesitant to network?
Don't get in your own way. You need to get out of your own way. And the only way you can be successful is by getting out and meeting people. And because you never know that one connection you make may push you over the top where you need to be, give you what you need, give you what you want, attract what you need to be attracted to. We whatever we put out there, we attract it to ourselves.
Absolutely.
So if you want to be successful, get out there and network with other successful entrepreneurs. And even if it's someone who's just starting out, you may be that person who is able to help them get started and get over yourself.
So give everybody your contact information, whether they want real estate or they want video coaching for their business.
So right now I am working on several things. And so as of right now, it's easiest just to connect with me via my phone or text, which is 713-289-4908.
Yay. Sheila, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. Congratulations on your keep resetting yourself, keep taking drastic steps. The drastic results are showing up in your life.
Yes, go ahead. The only way to be drastic is, to make something happen is to be drastic. And before you know it, oh my gosh, you're blowing up, like you said.
My name is Tony Harris Taylor, saying take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.